Alex, people think the magic of a piece of furniture happens at the table saw. But here's the thing. Nobody tells you. You can spend 80 hours cutting the most divine joinery in the world. But if you screw up the finish, it looks like a middle school shop project made of pine and regret.
Pine and regret. Is that what you call your early work? Because I've seen the coffee table in your basement.
Hey, that table is a historical monument to my overconfidence. I thought I could just slap some poly on it and call it a day. Ask me how I know that high-gloss polyurethane and cat hair are a permanent structural bond.
Well, that's why we're here today. We're doing a deep dive into the secrets of the pros, the stuff Honey Badger, Katz Moses, and the folks at Woodworkers Source use to make wood look like it belongs in a gallery, not a garage sale.
It starts where everyone wants to stop. Sanding. Everyone hates it. It's loud, it's dusty, and it feels like you're not actually doing anything. But if you think sanding is just making it smooth, you've already lost.
Wait, hold on. If it's not making it smooth, what is it? I've spent hours vibrating my hands into numbness.
You're creating a canvas, Alex. Professional finishing is 90% surface prep. If you leave a single swirl mark from a coarse grit, the stain or oil is going to find it, highlight it, and scream at everyone who walks by. I once finished a cherry desk and didn't notice a cross-grained scratch until the first coat of oil hit it. It looked like a neon sign. I had to sand the whole thing back down.
That sounds soul-crushing. So what's the pro move? I see people saying, go to 220 grit, some say 400, some say sand it until it's basically glass.
Here's the trick. You start coarse to remove the mill marks. Move up through the grits, 80, 120, 150, 180. But the secret, clean the dust between every single grit. If an 80 grit piece of sand stays on the wood while you're using 180, it's like dragging a diamond across a record.
Okay, so we've sanded, we're dusty, we've probably inhaled a pound of walnut. Now we get to the fun part where we make it pop, right? Staining.
Careful. Staining is the choose your own adventure book where half the endings involve a bonfire. Most beginners think stain is just paint's translucent cousin, but professional makers look at it as a way to tell a story.
Okay, but what about the blotchiness? I've tried staining maple before, and it looked like the wood had a bruising problem.
The maple malady. Here's the thing. Woods like maple, cherry, and pine have uneven density. They soak up stain like a sponge in some spots and reject it in others. Pros use a pre-stained conditioner or a wash coat of shellac. It's like putting a primer on a wall. It evens out the thirst of the wood,
What about the types? You've got oil-based, water-based, gels. It's a chemistry set.
If you're in a hurry, and the guys at Woodworkers Source mentioned this, rattle cans of lacquer or waterborne acrylic are the procrastinator's best friend. You can do a coat every 30 minutes. But if you want that hand-rubbed heirloom look, you're looking at wiping varnishes or hard wax oils.
I've seen this stuff all over Instagram. Rubio Monocoat, Odie's oil. It seems too good to be true. You just rub it on and you're done.
It's the closest thing to magic we have. But, and there's always a but, it requires the best sanding of your life. Because these finishes are so thin, they don't hide anything. They just celebrate what's already there.
So, if I'm building a dining table that needs to survive a toddler with a fork and a glass of grape juice, am I still using a hand-rubbed oil?
Probably not, unless you enjoy refinishing your table every 6 months. For heavy-duty stuff, you want something like a polyurethane or a wiping varnish like Armor Seal. It builds a film. It's a literal shield.
But those take forever to dry. I've waited 3 days for poly to stop being tacky, while every dust particle in the state decided to land on my project.
Welcome to my world. My workshop once had a no-breathing policy for 3 hours after a spray job. But that's why Wipe-On is the secret weapon. You thin the finish down, wipe it on thin, and wipe it off. It dries faster, and because the layer is so thin, the dust doesn't have a chance to settle in deep.
That looks incredible. But what happens when it goes wrong? Give me a disaster story. I know you have them.
Oh man, I was finishing a mahogany cabinet for a client, spent weeks on it. I was using a high-quality oil finish, but I was rushing. I didn't realize the shop was too cold. The oil didn't penetrate. It just sat on top and turned into this gummy, sticky mess that looked like I'd spilled maple syrup over the whole thing.
What did you do? Cry?
Briefly. Then I had to use mineral spirits to strip the goo off and start over. Ask me how I know that temperature matters as much as the technique. If it's too cold, the finish won't cure. If it's too humid, your lacquer will blush and turn white like a ghost.
So basically, woodworking is just a high stakes weather report.
Pretty much. But there's a satisfaction in it, Alex. When you hit that final coat and the wood looks three-dimensional, it's the only time I actually stop talking.
I noticed you didn't mention brushes. I see pros using everything from $50 Badger hairbrushes to pieces of old t-shirts.
Honestly, a high-quality paper towel or a lint-free rag is what I use 90% of the time for oils. Brushes are for when you want to build a heavy film, but they're a nightmare to clean. Here's a tip for the listeners. If you're using a wiping finish, don't use your husband's old gym socks. You'll get lint in the finish that you'll have to sand out later. Ask me how I know.
Poor Mrs. Tiger. Her laundry is never safe.
Not even a little. But look, if we're giving a pro secret takeaway, it's this. Stop trying to finish the whole project in one sitting. Finishing is about thin, multiple layers. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
So don't be a procrastinator, even though the Woodworkers Source blog says it's okay.
Well, if you are a procrastinator, use shellac. It's the duct tape of finishes. It sticks to everything, it dries in minutes, and it smells like a chemistry lab from the 1920s. It's classic.
I think the biggest takeaway here is that finishing isn't this scary, dark art. It's just patience.
Exactly. It's the conversation you have with the wood at the end of the job. You're asking it to show you its best self, and if you treat it right, with the right sanding, the right temperature, and the right product, it'll reward you by lasting 100 years.
And if you don't,
then you end up with a basement full of monuments to regret like mine.
Thanks for hanging out in the den today. Go make some sawdust, but for heaven's sake, wipe it off before you open the can of finish.
see you next